بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to with you welcome our brother Abdullah.
It's my honor, my pleasure.
Jazakallah khair for coming
Welcome.
and joining us in this podcast. So brother Abdullah is in an organization called Alfurqaan.
Yes, sir.
Alfurqaan organization is for da'wah, right?
Yes, sir.
So how long has been this organization around, and what's your role in it, and all of that to us, brother?
First of all, it's an honor being here. Furqaan Foundation, which I'm in Atlanta currently to represent them. I've been with them for the last number of months, but for over 20 years, they've printed and distributed millions of copies of the Quran all over the U.S. Prisons, hospitals, universities, mosques, masajid, da'wah tables, universities, you name it.
MashaAllah.
So it's clean work. They're organized, they're professional, systematic. It's a huge team. I'm part of the team that travels to raise funds through khutbahs and events and speaking at Taraweeh, like I did at the mosque today here in Atlanta. But that's basically it. I raise funds. So when non-Muslims order an English or Spanish copy of the Quran, they get it for free because Muslims donate. And you can imagine all the stories, and people have ordered it in the last few months more than ever before because of what's going on in Gaza. People are curious and excited to learn about Islam all over the country. The Latino Muslim community is small but fastly growing. People in prisons that are sitting there all day want to read. They order copies of the Quran. We distribute boxes all the time based in Chicago. It's a beautiful organization. I've volunteered with tens of organizations in my life. This one was a no-brainer.
So I've heard people say Quran is a heavy material for a non-Muslim for them to read and understand or learn about Islam. So is it the right way to go about it and distribute the Quran?
Great question. Someone can always pick up a copy of the Quran, read a verse, be confused or curious about it, and then Google that verse online and find tons of videos and websites of people explaining it, and they might even have different opinions or read people that have explained it in different ways. But if you give them anything besides the Quran and expect them to convert before reading the Quran, it won't make sense. Like, if you were non-Muslim and someone was telling you about this religion, this is amazing, it has a core book, would you convert before reading that book?
That is true, though. I agree with that, yes. So I could go into introduction phases where somebody may tell me something about Islam, and then I would ask questions.
For sure.
And then at some point they say, but if you want to learn everything about Islam, then you really should read Quran.
Fair enough.
I think that's a
great point.
That's an order.
When we distribute these Qurans, like we did at the mosque today, we had a stack of them at the masjid, we gave them out. We told people, give these to your friends, neighbors, colleagues, co-workers. Ideally, these people already have a decent relationship with these people.
Yes.
Friends, colleagues. And they've already, at least they know the basics. Like, oh, you're not fasting today. Why? Oh, Ramadan. Okay.
Exactly.
Your beard. Okay. Your wife wears a hijab. Why did she? They know something. And then they give them this as a gift. It's a gift. Who would say no to it? They take it. If they're curious, they read it. If not, they can Google something. But I agree with you that knowing a Muslim would probably come first and would be more important to most people than a book. Like the majority of people in a society are not the ones who read books all the time. That's a minority. And even those people, they'll read people. Khabib said it, right? He said, you remember that people don't read the Quran, they read you. So be a good example. It just came to my mind. But it's relevant to what you're saying. But I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. That's actually.
But it makes for a good gift, right?
Absolutely.
And how about this? You give it to someone, let's say they don't read it, but they're like, this guy gave me a gift, it's the Quran. And then they think about asking you their questions from now on about Islam. So it still worked, even if they didn't even read it.
And so I see that you
shows them that you care.
You're going around from state to state,
yes,
city to city, masjid to masjid, and you're bringing awareness.
Yes, sir.
About people learning about Islam through the Quran. So do you feel like Muslims are responsive to the organization and to the message of the organization?
Alhamdulillah, people throughout Ramadan are generally generous. Our communities, I think they've done studies in the UK. I'm sure the US as well. The UK, the most generous people in the UK are the Muslims in the UK. We love donating to charities and nonprofits. But like we were talking about earlier before the podcast and stuff, our da'wah efforts though are pretty weak. So like giving money to someone else to give da'wah, but like you said, it should be I like this. You said it should be full-time in our jobs, IT, engineering, medicine, law, whatever it is, it should be part-time. Even if it's 40 hours a week, that's part-time relative to the fact that we have 168 hours a week. So are there enough Muslims in America that are giving da'wah part-time or even full-time? So there are very few. There's only a few people publicly doing it, like a handful around the country. Let's assume, there's thousands of others doing it in their private lives, but 99% of Americans are non-Muslim. Millions of them, I know for a fact, are curious and interested to know about Islam. Yep. It's like the second biggest religion in the world. Everyone knows that there are Muslims. They don't know much. It's our fault, and I think we could definitely do better.
Absolutely.
But we try our best.
And Americans in general, they're kind people. They're curious. They want to learn about things. They want to hear information about it. So the fact that Islam is not spreading even faster in America,
It's our fault.
it's our fault.
100%.
There is no.
We got
ifs and buts about it.
work to do.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting to say American cultures. I agree with all that. I would add on to that America, whether someone likes it or not, whether they think it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's separate. America leads the world in many ways. The most
That's
influential, among the most powerful, richest, among the richest, etc. Right? The world leaders, and it's a debate within America. Should we be policing other countries? Regardless, the fact is that we're global leaders, right? Or among the global leaders.
Exactly.
Okay, it benefit us as American citizens and everyone else that's American if they're not Muslim. It'd be beneficial to you to learn the cultures, religions, and languages around the world to lead better and to benefit yourself and others more. So like even if somebody didn't feel like converting to Islam was the way to go, they should study and learn about Islam in order to better, to benefit quote unquote your country, your people, your so on. So although it's not a us versus America, like it's not Islam or America, I'm both Muslim American, but we definitely want to see a basic knowledge of Islam spread around American society. It would be for the benefit of everybody.
I've heard
it would also make for more peace around the world. To be less violence and less conflict and less so on. Because the more you understand people, the less likely you are to engage in war with them.
Absolutely. I've heard some Muslims, and this is a message for Muslims who make statements like this, where they say dealing with non-Muslims is easier than dealing with Muslims. So stop converting non-Muslims to Islam.
Okay, I never heard that part. But
yeah.
The first part I get. Yeah, our community has.
They say stop this, man.
That's funny. I never
like
heard
you
it
fear Allah.
But it is that's funny. It is many times easier to deal with non-Muslims than Muslims, and that's because a good chunk, the 2/3 of the Muslims in America right now, like Arab background, Indian subcontinent, they're immigrants or the children of immigrants, and we come from countries that have gone through a lot, through colonization, through all sorts of different oppressive leaders and oppressive governments, oppressive regimes. Coming to America, where it's a new language, new culture, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of mental health issues, there's a lot of also spiritual diseases, like inferiority complex towards others, thinking that you're not as good, we're not as beautiful as white people, we're not as competent, we're not as confident, we're not as courageous, we're not as knowledgeable, we're not as powerful. So we feel like we're second-class citizens or worse. And if you accept that, then it's a psychological barrier to really. It's on us. And then if we don't love and respect and admire ourselves and our own community, you're less likely to work and deal good with them. So we have our issues.
Yes.
We have the colonized mindset.
And we need to work on it, not blame others for our failures.
The victim mindset, 100%.
Absolutely.
Great point.
So, do you guys offer any Quran in other languages?
100%.
Like Spanish or French, whatever
100%.
other languages?
I recommend Quran.com, Quran.com. It has at least 5, 10, 15 different languages or more. And for those who like to read it digitally, if you want to read, if you want a physical copy, then you can go to Furqan.org. But the English and Spanish copies are the ones that are spreading like wildfire. Like I know for a fact, the smallest but fastest growing group of people in America are Latino Muslims. And in Texas, where I'm from, and in California and other places, half of people speak Spanish, and it's growing. It's the second largest group in America. It's white, then Latinos, more than African American, more than Asian, more than Indian, more than Arab, Latino community, and growing. So it's growing as a faith, and then growing as an immigrant group and children of immigrants, Latino group. So Spanish is, In fact, I would encourage. I just today spoke to a 10-year-old who's from a Pakistani Indian background in our community, who's high IQ, very intelligent kid, very smart. He's learning Arabic and Quran, which is his third language, English, Urdu. I told him if you have he's 10, he's young. I said, if you finish memorizing the Quran, which he's in a program, I told him you should, try to learn Spanish because I want him to, give that.
Yes.
It's top 5 languages around the world. Like English, Mandarin, Spanish, Urdu, Hindi. Arabic is 5 or 6 or 7. Wow. It's top. It's almost a whole continent, and then like a third of America or a fourth of America speaks Spanish. But you can get. It's a tangent, but you can get Spanish copies of the Quran from Furqan.org. Okay. FURQAN.org.
So Alfurqaan.org.
We had them at the table today.
Relies on after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on donations.
100%.
So Muslims want the reward, especially during Ramadan.
Especially this is the time. It's the month of the Quran. Good. We want the Quran in everyone's home. The Prophet ﷺ had a vision that the Quran will enter every home, or Islam would enter every home.
Yes.
So our vision is to get the Quran in the house of everyone that wants it. Every family in America should hopefully have one. But they get it for free because we give it. We donate.
Alhamdulillah.
So
if you want to donate, we are going to put some information about that.
Beautiful.
We will put some links on the website and all that for those who want to donate and be a part of it and not just sit back and watch things happening.
The least you can do. You should be having conversations on a regular basis, but at least you can donate a few dollars.
Oh yeah, Islam is going to spread, whether we
with
do
you or
something
without
or
you.
not.
It's a fact.
So just be part of it.
It's the future of America,
and get the
future of
reward. May Allah reward you, brother. Jazakumullah khair.
I appreciate
that
it.
was awesome. Allah Jazakumullah khair. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Jazakumullah khair for watching. We will meet inshallah with other topics with other brother Abdullah inshallah. So Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.